Welcome to the world, my little virgin baby doll.
As he started to approach me, I ran up to the king and gave him a hug. How I missed him. Ever since my parents died when I was very young, I never let anyone get very close to me. But the king was different. He opened up to me, took me into his family, and became like a father to me. He gave me a home to come to every year. When I was in Hyrule, I felt at home.
Jenna, my sweet daughter, what have you acquired through thy travels this past year?
I smiled at the king. You must see some of the new cloth I picked up in the city of the great city of light. I smiled as the king's eyes grew big.
Jenna, my daughter, you must show me what you've acquired.
Then he took my hand and began to lead me out of the garden. With one last look back at Link, I smiled at him. See you tonight, I said before I left. After spending some time with the king, he brought some of my new cloth, then let me settle in for the night. I returned to the inside of my wagon and prepared a hot bath. I went to the mirror and brushed my hair while I waited for the water to heat up. After about 5 minuets, the water was ready. As I slipped down into the warm water, it felt good against my sore muscles. I began to relax and slowly let my thoughts drift. Link was the only thing on my mind. He is so handsome, I thought to myself. That is the heroic man who became the legendary hero of time and saved Hyrule from a life of darkness. Though something tugged at the back of my mind. I remembered that I had wanted to marry one day. And Link would be a good choice since he was my age, strong, smart, and handsome, and would help make strong, beautiful children. Yes, indeed, Link would make a good husband. Then I took the soap and washed up. After I washed, I got out of the tub and dried off. I went to the wardrobe closet to pick out a dress for this evening's occasion. After some rummaging, I picked a low V-cut white dress with lace that held the V together. Gold-embroidered Triforce symbols lined the bottom of the dress, and the sleeves started from mid-arm and ran all the way down my arm to my wrist. Next, I picked a gold choker with the Triforce symbol for around my neck, and a gold Triforce ring for my finger. Then I had to do my hair. I braided my hair into a halo braid and ran a beautiful silver lace through it. After that, I went to the full-length mirror to look at myself. As I looked myself over, a knock came at the door. "Come!" I yelled. Appearing in the doorway was the man I had set my eyes on. His eyes grew big as he looked me over. "You look beautiful tonight," Link said as he took my hand and kissed it. Then he led me out the door. There were 2 horses in front, saddled for riding. One was a rust-colored mare with a white mane and tail with a black muzzle. The other was one of my brown mares with a black mane and tail. And the one he had gotten was the one with the white star on her forehead, the one whom I named Star Dancer. He led me to my mare and helped me into the saddle. Then he mounted the other horse. Looking back at me, his eyes seemed to glow in the moonlight. "Follow me, I will lead the way." Then he booted the horse in the legs and took off at a slow gallop. I then followed. We rode to the south side of Hyrule Field and came upon a long, dark tunnel. "This way!" Link called. "Through here!" I watched as Link disappeared into the tunnel. Then I followed. At the other end we crossed a bridge and then into what seemed to be a village. Little people wearing green clothes that looked like kids started to surround us when we stopped. "This is the Kokiri village, the place where I was raised," Link said as he dismounted. After I dismounted, one of the kid-like Kokiri took our horses to tend to them. As I walked into the village, the child-like people began watching me. They all seemed very curious to who I was. As I looked around at them, I noticed that they had something floating around them. As I took a closer look, I noticed that they looked like fairies from the fairy tales told to us in our village as kids. Were these really fairies from the stories I heard as a child? I thought to myself. Just then, one of the Kokiri, a young girl, approached me. "My name is Sureo. What's yours?" the girl asked. "My name is Jenna. It's a pleasure to meet you," I replied. "Are you the one that came with my friend Link for our Spring Night Festival?" Sureo's eyes seemed to glow at that moment. "Yes, he invited me," I said as a smile crossed the Kokiri girl's face. I could tell that she knew I had my eyes set on Link, though she remained silent about it. There were male Kokiri as well. One in particular was named Mito. He was the leader of the Kokiri and a dear friend of Saria and Link. He had a sense of humor, but yet remained stern and headstrong, for he was their leader and was responsible for their lives. It was time for the feast. Saria gestured for me to join them at a feast table. She led me to the seat next to Link. As I sat down next to him, she smiled and winked at me. Did she plan this? I asked myself, and then smiled. After a moment, I looked over all the food. There was a great abundance of food to eat.
Cheese and chips, and meat and gravy, and cream and beer, and pork and beef and fat and great big chunks of hot and wet and red.
There was cooked pork in a rich chestnut cream sauce, beef stew, cooked turkey, all different kinds of cheeses, bread and butter, cooked vegetables, and even many different kinds of fruit. My mouth began to water as I combed over the food. After I served myself, I began to eat. As I was eating, I could not help but notice that Link was watching me out of the corner of his eye. Squee! I could feel his stare, though it was pleasant. Then our eyes met and a smile crossed his face. As I stared into his eyes, they seemed to glow under the light of the moon. He even looked more handsome in the moonlight, and I told myself that I would be crazy to pass up a man like this. After everyone finished eating, all the Kokiri got up and started to dance. Some of the Kokiri even played instruments. As the music drifted into the air, Link took my hand in his. Would you care to dance? I looked at him and smiled. Yes, I'd love to. He led me to where everyone else was, and we started to dance. We danced and drank long into the night, and to show my appreciation, I even did a solo dance. Then after I did my dance, I went to sit down and rest. I was tired. Link came down and sat down beside me. You look real tired. Are you ready to retire? Link said as he put his hand on my shoulder. I nodded yes and tried to get up and walk, but I was so tired and had too much to drink that I stumbled. Catching me in his arms, Link led me back to where I was sitting. I think it would be wise if you stay here tonight. I have plenty of room and I can escort you back to the castle in the morning. Link looked at me with a worried look, and I decided to stay. And that is how we spent every night together, even up to the night when I finally shared his bed. I started to know within inside myself that Link was the one I wanted to be with, even more so on the night when I shared myself with him. It was a warm spring night, and night had just arrived. Link and I were sharing the quiet sounds of the night together. I had been seeing Link for a little more than a month. The spring festival had come and gone, and the warm weather was finally returning. All signs of winter were almost gone, and my time in Hyrule was about to end for this year. In 2 weeks, I would be leaving for the city of Tarvera. In knowing this made me sad to go, since I did not want to leave Link. I had finally found someone I truly loved, and I would have to leave him behind when it was time to leave. Even Link was not happy after I told him that I would be leaving soon. When I told him, his face went from happy to a depressed one. He wanted to be with me, and he wanted me to stay in Hyrule with him. But I was going to spend every last minute I had left with him enjoying it.